Hey Vishesh, thanks for joining us today for this podcast. So I would like to introduce Vishesh. He's the founder and CEO at Cloudfiles. He has been into the ecosystem from quite a while now, almost a decade. Vishesh, I would like you to maybe introduce yourself.
Yes, thanks Sanjeet for having me here. It's a pleasure. My name is Vishesh. I'm CEO of Cloudfiles. We are a startup. We started in 2021. Before this, I was a product engineer at other startups for about 8 years. I did that, and those were mostly SaaS companies with a lot of Salesforce presence. Before that, I graduated from BITS Pilani in 2013. And yeah, that's mostly it. I studied electronics in my college, but I naturally got inclined towards coding and IT, so that's how it all started.
Great, good to know about your past experiences. So you have been into Salesforce, right, from beginning, is it?
Yes, so it was very coincidental. There was a online community called Cloud Spokes, and they used to put these online competitions around Salesforce. And one day in my third year in college, I just randomly came across it, and the prize money was good. It was a good proposal, but I had no idea what Salesforce is.
Mm-hmm.
And then but I was interested in coding, so I'm like, let's give it a try. It was a week-long project, and you have to do the project, you have to build the video and just send it. So I did that, and that was the first time I got to know about Apex, Visual Force. It was all Salesforce Classic back then. I think it was in 2012. And I just knew Java, and all I knew that it's a Java-like language, Apex. So I built some app, and then I submitted it. It was about a week-long thing, and I forgot about it after that. And then after a month, I get to know that I won the first place, and
Oh, great.
it's a lot of money. And I'm like, wow, this is cool. Salesforce is good. So that's how I started competing in other Salesforce competitions. I got to know more about community, and then that's how it just worked out.
Great. No, similar thing happened with me. I was not aware what Salesforce is, and then when I joined, right, it was like, what is this? It is just a tool. I like coding, and
Yeah,
this is like point and click. I don't want to do this. But gradually over a couple of months, I realized that it is not about point and click, and then
yeah.
so even a few freshers joining us today, not from a Salesforce background and fresh out of college, they are usually, what is this? What is a flow? It is just point and click. You want to write code and all, but gradually they understand the power of the platform, and it is amazing to have a 360 view with Salesforce.
I think one thing I like about Salesforce is that it's everything is in there in the platform. So when I
Yeah.
started, I saw that there is an editor on the web itself where I can code. And that thing was very so uncommon at that time because you
Yeah.
had to install some tools, start writing codes there, do the deployments. And here in Salesforce, you just create a
One.
visual space, create a Apex controller right in the browser, right inside Salesforce website, and it's live. So that really makes it very easy to get started. So that was one thing that was very promising as a fresher.
Yeah, no, it is really easy, right? You just get into the system. It takes like 2 minutes to create a devlog, and you just are in there, just hands on, right? Otherwise, other
Yes.
platforms, you need to install a lot of things and configure VS Code, and then connect it with certain other extensions and stuff like that. Though that is there in Salesforce for LWCs now, but still it is much easier.
Yes,
Great.
yes.
Then how did cloud files happen? You were into the you working as a employee, right, in some organization, happy with a hefty salary. So what happened, and why did you took up this path?
Yeah, so see, after I finished graduation, so I started working with a startup right after in the very beginning of my career.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a lot of work where I was doing the back end mostly. Then but the Salesforce bug had bitten me long back because I had seen that, how cool the platform is and how easy it is to get started. And the second thing is Salesforce very popular within business guys. So
Mm-hmm.
all founders would know about it, especially the B2B SaaS founders.
B2B.
So the company I was working in was a B2B SaaS product. And I told them that, hey, we are doing all this good stuff. Do you think bringing it inside Salesforce would make sense? And my CEO back then is like, yeah, we do have customers asking that do we have a Salesforce integration, but I have no idea what Salesforce is.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard that, it's hard to get into. So I said, okay, I have some knowledge, let's try it. So I brought that product into Salesforce and we started. So that was also the start of my ISV career. So rather than like, becoming a typical Salesforce developer or like, being very involved in the Salesforce ecosystem, I started as an outsider who brings outside technology inside Salesforce as an ISV. So I built that. It was a good experience, and good and bad experience. Like all the security reviews, the back and forth, and everything. But I learned a lot. After that, so this product was mainly into documents and files. So I got some idea that Salesforce really doesn't have a good way to connect your Google Drive or your OneDrive into Salesforce. So let me try that. I did this project over a weekend, and then like that's when I was pretty happy with the output of it, outcome of this. And I'm like, okay, we can actually build a very solid product out of it. I launched it for free in the marketplace at that time, and one of the major reasons for putting it for free was that free apps were free to list. So that was one reason.
But
So I
now
listed it,
Salesforce
and
is like blocking free apps. I'm not sure if you're aware of that
yes,
or
yes,
not.
I think they have, but they have also considerably reduced the security review fees. It's like $1,000 now. It used to be $2,700 back then, and for the paid apps, right? But I had anyway put it up for free, and I got pretty good traction. People installed it, and there was good interest. So I'm like, okay, this is cool, but then it was also overwhelming because everyone needed support, and I think when you are selling it to companies, they do want a paid product rather than a free product because so that they can support and everything. So I learned that even if the product is out there, I need to learn more about business. So then I joined another startup, and it was an Australian company, and I did the same thing there. So I worked as a backend engineer for a while. And I told them, hey, don't you think this product would make so much sense inside Salesforce as well? And they're like, yeah, cool, it will. So I did their Salesforce product, and that's where I learned a lot about how to support Salesforce customers, how to market it, how to optimize app exchange listings, and all that. Once I did that, the idea was there. I sat on it for about 3 to 4 years, and then finally I got two co-founders after COVID, and that's when I went full time and built it into a company.
Great. So the product was building in the background long back, or you started building the product?
I was, yes, building it, but then when we started in 2021 as a company, I scrapped all of that, and
And
we
we
like
built
I
it.
think like, writing code for a product is the smallest part of a company.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
all that but the learning has been happening over 4 or 5 years of with respect to Cloudfiles idea.
Yeah, no, great. I think Cloudfiles is picking up a lot of traction, and it is a great product. So all the best for the future with Cloudfiles. So you're planning to launch some other products also in future, or it is just this and scaling this up, or you're kind
Yeah,
of having a
so
window of 4 or 5 products into a package.
Yeah, so you see, we are a product company and we want to stick to that. So we are like, rather than launching a lot of different products, we are just going to keep improving the same product. So today we do document automation mostly and then file sharing. But then, we are going to extend it in the same document stack. So we are going to do document generation like your Conga compositors. And then like, there is already a lot of automation and storage options. Then, we will do some AI related stuff where, we will help people with discovering the right documents at the right time, sharing them, integrating with e-signature tools and all. But basically the product is gonna evolve into the documents tool for Salesforce. So anything documents related, you use Cloudfiles. But yeah, like, there won't be products which are not related to files at least for a while. And it's gonna be the only product.
Okay, so basically, documents and files are the core area, right? You will be expanding in when if you plan to launch more products. Great.
Yes.
Sounds good. Vishesh, as we have this podcast, right? It is mostly for people who are entering the system or want to grow, right? And want to be inspired by the people who have already achieved something in Salesforce ecosystem. So, what are your tips and tricks in order to somebody who is kind of entering the system or has a couple of years of experience and wants to learn more, and and he's also very overwhelmed, right, with a lot of clouds and stuff. Every second month you see something popping up. So how to keep up with the pace?
Yeah, I think, see, Salesforce can be overwhelming when you get into it, and there are goods and bads of it. The goods is that there is, like, so much documentation that other platforms won't give you. They've built a very good community, very good
Definitely.
knowledge base, but then it can be too much stuff. So I would recommend that if you are coming in as a product person, just start building. So pick something small, don't get distracted. Okay, you see, okay, there's Service Cloud, there's Sales Cloud, there's Commerce Cloud, so many. Just pick anything. Let's say Sales Cloud. And we pick Sales Cloud, we learn what an account object is, what an opportunity is, and after that we know what like your lightning component is, what a controller is. So start building some lightning component with a small idea. Don't think that okay, you have to learn so much to before before starting. Just start it. Start it and ship it. I think that's what in my career when I got into it, it worked for me because I had to ship it in 7 days. There was otherwise, I could not submit the solution for that. So there was no time to, in fact, learn so much of stuff. And as soon as you get stuck, you just Google it, and now you can also ask ChatGPT, and it will help you.
Yeah.
So, but the idea here is just build and focus on building rather than so much focus on absorbing the knowledge. Just build. That will teach you.
Rather than theoretical knowledge, I think practical knowledge adds more value. So
Yes,
just pick
exactly.
pick up some trailheads, learn it, and then identify a product, or maybe reach out to the trailblazer community. Right, they will help you with that.
Exactly.
Lot of
Yeah.
folks are doing a lot of valuable learning stuff in the ecosystem.
Yes.
Great. What are your thoughts on certification? This is one of my favorite questions. I ask everybody. What are
I,
your thoughts on
I have
certification?
not done any I have not done any certification in Salesforce as like
Zero certs.
yes. so
Oh, great.
so as
Yeah,
I told
you're the
you,
first one that completely zero certs.
I was not a Salesforce ecosystem guy. I am a guy who was bringing outside technology into Salesforce. So that's why, I learned by doing mostly. I did not need I did not have the need to get certified to show it to my
Mhm.
employers or anyone. So, it never happened.
Okay, so for in your case, no certifications, but still building a great product.
Yeah, that's the idea. In fact, when
Because
we
people are
hired,
running behind certification, right?
yes, they are. So I think certifications are there are two ways to show a potential employer that you know the thing. One is you show your certifications, other is you show your projects and products. Right. So I chose the latter. I was building, I in fact, like if you go on my GitHub, there are lots of small projects that I've done. And in my resume, I talk about them rather than talking about certifications. So that works out for me. It's
Yeah,
a very,
actually, the
yeah,
I think with service based companies, right, like ourselves, it is sometimes important to have certifications with prior knowledge. Reason being, when
yes,
when we have a client on board, client asks, right, that okay, we need somebody who is a Sales Cloud certified, right? So you therein showcasing projects is tedious at time, but I definitely understand from a product standpoint, it is not important. The knowledge matters, and certification does not
yes,
matter.
yes.
But
And
a lot
that's
of
why, like,
people go ahead,
yeah,
go
that's
ahead.
why I would like that. Don't take my advice of not getting any certification. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying to build products, you don't need it,
Need
but
it.
still, like to just give a confidence to client, and especially in the service sector, you will need it. So definitely do that.
Yeah, and in my case, what happened is you get certified, but I tend to do the maintenance right every quarter. I know it is required yearly, but I tend to do it, and it gives you a very brief reminder of what is happening and what new things have been launched. Because sometimes you kind of miss the release notes, and then you when on a client project you realize, okay, this is something that could have happened. So that is
Yes,
valuable. Yeah, Trailheads are a great tool by Salesforce, and definitely I think with Trailblazer community, you can reach out to anybody and everybody is there to help. Right? You saw right in India, even everybody was networking,
I know,
everybody
like,
was chit chatting.
yes,
Yeah,
1,000 people in the community event. That is big,
yeah,
and
and with
and
this much heat,
yes,
with this much heat.
it's a huge.
Yeah, people flying
This
in from the US
community.
and
Yeah. See, this
yeah,
this community is mostly, one of also to the future and entrepreneurs. I would tell that if you're doing a software business, Salesforce gives you a lot of head start. Let's say you have to do an event, you don't have to do it. There is like there's so many Trailblazer events. So
just
just go in
sponsor.
there and present your stuff or sponsor, of course. But
Yeah.
even just talking about your stuff to the people who are there, Salesforce has brought them together to all already listen to you. So that's why it's a great platform.
No, definitely. Because, a lot of people entering from different ecosystem, right? I was speaking to Shibu. He has also been part of the other ecosystems in his journey. But he was talking about that, with Salesforce, Salesforce has kind of a unique community. No other organization or no other platform is having such a big community where people are like flying in from miles apart just to attend the event. And in so much heat, right? In India Dream, and it was like crazy. Even we were feeling so much heat.
Yes.
Imagine somebody from the US or from northern part of the US lying in, which with like 42 degrees, which feels like 50 with the ACs on. So that is definitely something to be proud of, I would say.
Yeah.
Fab. So, Vishesh, before we wind this up, what is the last tip you would like to give to somebody who is watching this and he wants to grow big in the ecosystem?
I think so. When you mentioned the word ecosystem, and that's the greatest part of Salesforce, that they've built an ecosystem and it's huge. So the tip is that don't do anything in a silo. Don't just continue sticking to your laptop and building it yourself. Ask people. Go and ask in the community, make noise in the community, and people will help you. So I have two tips for you. One is first build, and secondly is like take the help of community for others to know about it, collaborate and all that, right? So the power of community in Salesforce, that is something unique that you don't get in a typical software business outside of such ecosystems. So in Salesforce, make full use of it.
Great. And talking about ISV, right? Any somebody who is like maybe is into a job and wants to build something on App Exchange, should he go ahead with it, or what are your thoughts there? I know you did, right? So
Yeah.
put it out there for free.
See, I would say this, that App Exchange is a great platform, and there is not a lot of information about it outside of the ecosystem or the people who use Salesforce already. But it's a huge market. So when you're talking to VCs, let's say, and you might have to convince them that how big this is, but I have talked to people, I've talked to successful ISVs who have done this, and compared to like your typical revenue numbers for a typical SaaS company, the ISV apps are much more successful. So business wise, it's a great thing. Secondly, imagine there is a platform where you have guidelines on how to optimize your listings, how to build them, how to take support. There's so many people, it's like it's a launch pad for your startup. So
Mm-hmm.
definitely do it if you have an idea and if it makes sense for B2B crowd. It makes complete sense to first do it on App Exchange. I'm not saying that you don't have to do it outside of Salesforce, but this can be one of your very first GTM, and it is a great one.
Right. No, definitely. I think App Exchange has a lot of valuable assets. We also use App Exchange a lot for few of our customers, wherein the requirement is critical and you find immediately a solution out there, and most of the solutions you find out there, which are
Yes.
great. So you
Yes.
it reduce your cost, reduce your custom build and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So
I
it's
think I
it's
think
great.
for companies in service sector, it's a age old build versus buy debate. So we, in fact, especially in the Indian developer community, we think, hey, I can build it myself. But if you subscribe to a product or let's say get a pre-built product, so this product has only been doing this. So it generally makes a lot of sense, even financially in the long run, when you don't have to worry
Right.
about maintenance at all. Use an App Exchange product wherever you can, and focus all your build capability in the stuff which is very specific to the customer, so that the final outcome becomes cheaper, faster, and much more cleaner.
Yeah, and secondly, it is really easy. It is just point and click, and you just install it
Yes.
out there, and that is very valuable to customer at times. But sometimes a lot of our customer, they say we don't want to use App Exchange products. They are really restrictive. We want to build our own thing, and in a longer run, it will be cheaper. But it's a debate, right? So it depends on customer to customer. Most of the customer, they do prefer App Exchange, and we are the one
Yes.
recommending, right? So
Yeah.
it is what you consult on. Great. Great having you, Vishesh, on the show. Thanks for taking out time over the weekend and connecting with us.
Sure. Thanks, Sanjeet, for having me.